Hi there, this is Carly Lampard and welcome to my food systems vlog where I will be making Swedish meatballs. So yeah. In my family, every year as kind of like holiday tradition, we'll make Swedish meatballs, but this year because of COVID I'm not going to be able to go home for Christmas this year, so I figured I would just make them myself. And so this vlog will just be kind of following me as I do that. My mother's side of the family is Swedish, and so yeah, that's kind of where the tradition comes from. Growing up, when my mom was a kid, her grandmother would make Swedish meatballs also, so yeah. We don't use the same recipe because that was the 60s and cream of mushroom soup was really in the 60s, so my great-grandma's recipe, the main ingredient for the gravy was cream of mushroom soup, and we've found a way to improve on that. So yeah, I'll include the recipe in the description box down below. Yeah. Alright, I grew up in Ballard, which is in Seattle, which is kind of fitting given my Swedish family, because Ballard also has like a fairly strong Scandinavian presence. There's a Nordic Heritage Museum that just got rebuilt 2 years ago or so, maybe only 1 year, I don't know. And then there's also a 17. Mai parade every year, which is just the 17th of May in Norwegian, and it celebrates Norwegian independence, I think, from Sweden. So yeah, so there's a strong Scandinavian presence in Ballard that started in the late 1800s and early 1900s when lots of Scandinavian fishermen and immigrants came and moved to Ballard, and it's kind of stayed present. So yeah. I do want to acknowledge that the land that I live on and the land I grew up on is the traditional land of the Duwamish people, and while I'm making this video I want to honor with lots of gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. Often I think in the celebration of Scandinavian heritage in Ballard and Seattle, any land acknowledgement often gets skipped over, and I think it's definitely an integral part of when looking at the history of Ballard and Seattle. So yeah. For this vlog, I'm going to be going to the Ballard Farmers Market to get a lot of my ingredients just so I can try to source them as sustainably as possible. And I'm also going to be going to Scandinavian Specialties, which is a little like Scandinavian goods shop that is also in Ballard. And what I can't find there and at the farmer's market, I'll probably just get from the grocery store. For this project, I'm choosing to shop at the farmer's market for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is to support like my local community and support my local economy and spend money there instead of just at big chain grocery stores. And then also just to kind of source my food in a more environmentally sustainable way, and especially the meat, like the ground beef and the ground pork that I'm getting from the farmer's market was probably raised and sourced in a more environmentally sustainable way than getting that like ground meat at the grocery store would be. So yeah. I'll also be shopping at Scandinavian Specialties, and that also just kind of helps me connect with my Scandinavian heritage and kind of support the Scandinavian community in Ballard also. Alright, so stay tuned as I embark on my Swedish meatball journey. Alright, hi guys, this is Carly. I am just walking in Ballard right now, and I'm about to go to the farmer's market to get some of the ingredients for my Swedish meatballs. Alright, here we are. It's not very crowded because it's a little rainy. Yeah, I'm gonna go meet my mom. Alright, here I am at the farmer's market. I met my mother here. There's my Swedish mother. Alright, so also got some tea. We just bought some parsnips, some onions, and some ground beef and ground pork. The potatoes were from a farm on Envir Island, which is in Skagit Valley, and the pork and beef were from a farm on Vashon Island, and we watched it get ground in front of us, so that was pretty cool. I got a pint of shiitake mushrooms, Snow Valley mushrooms, in Duval, Washington. Alright, here I am at Scandinavian Specialties. I am looking for Lingonberry sauce, which is, yeah, like a jelly made out of lingonberries that goes with Swedish meatballs. So I'll show you guys the shop. It's really cute. There's a painting by Henry, who's like a local Ballard Seattle muralist on it. Let's see. Here we are. Alright, I've got my ingredients here. I've got ground beef and ground pork, some milk, salt, pepper, cardamom and nutmeg, and an egg, butter, an onion, and bread. So yeah. Alright, so the first step of making the meatballs is cubing some bread and then letting it soak in milk for like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna do that. Alright, so we got the bread soaking in the milk. I'm gonna let that sit for like 10-ish minutes and let all the milk get soaked up. And in the meantime, I'm gonna grate some onions and then saute them. Alright, so I shredded the onions. I feel like my eyes are really sensitive to onions. And I was like, I'm videoing myself, I'm not gonna wear my goggles. And then I got partway through, my eyes really hurt. So, yeah. Alright, now that I have shredded the onion, I'm gonna saute it up real fast, just in butter for like 3 or 4 minutes or so. Alright, the next step is to actually make the meatball mixture, which starts by squishing up all the bread with a fork. So, yeah. Before and after. Alright, the next part is adding in the onions and the meat and the egg and the cardamom and the nutmeg and the salt and pepper. So I'm gonna do that next. Normally someone else does the meat. I don't love touching raw meat, but here we go. Alright, I'm letting the meatball mixture chill for 20 minutes. So while that's going, I'm gonna cut the potatoes for the mashed potatoes. Get that going. Alright, off screen I peeled the potatoes, so I'm gonna cut them up. These are like the prettiest potatoes I've ever seen in my life. Like, look at this. Gorgeous. I also got these like delicious looking shiitake mushrooms. Mushrooms aren't technically in the recipe, but I really like adding them to the gravy just because I love mushrooms. So yeah, I'm gonna toss those in the oven and roast them first, and then add them to the gravy later on. Alright, here are the mushrooms ready to go in. These are also really pretty mushrooms. I don't know. Alright, now I'm going to take the meatballs out of the fridge and then actually make them into meatballs. So, here we are. Alright, I've now rolled all the meatballs into meatballs, and now I'm going to cook them in a saucepan with lots of butter, because I love butter. Yeah, time lapse time. There they are. Here's some that are already made. Potatoes still cooking. And then the mushrooms came out of the oven. There they are. I might saute them a little bit in like the beef fat just to Give them a little bit of spice, you know. All right, I'm all done with the meatballs. Here they are. I also tossed the mushrooms in and like the butter a little bit, so there they are. They just sit there while I make the gravy. All right, now that the meatballs are made, we're gonna make the gravy, which just has, I think, beef stock, more butter, flour, sour cream, salt, probably, and then lingonberry sauce. So yeah, I'm gonna get started with that, starting off with the roux, which is just flour and butter. All right, and now I'm gonna add the Swedish lingonberry preserves to the sauce. Yeah, I normally add like a spoonful, I don't know. We got the meatballs and the mushrooms. One last whisk. Normally add a little more cardamom to the sauce just to make it, you know, more cardamom-y. I'm not a super big like recipe person. I kind of just like mix it up, do it as I go. They always taste like a little bit different every time, but they're always good, so you know, it's all right. All right, now I just need to mash the potatoes and then we'll be good to go. All right, now we're eating the meatballs. Can I pan to you? Here's my roommate also eating the meatballs. We're watching Big Mouth. All right. Bon appetit. All right, thank you guys for hanging out as I made my Swedish meatballs. I'm going to put the recipe in the description box down below and where I got my ingredients, and also some information about Scandinavian Specialties if you want to check it out. I'm also going to include some of the sources I used on sustainable and local agriculture and farming, and I'm also going to add in some more information and resources around like the history of Ballard and the history of the Duwamish in the Seattle area also, if you want to check those out. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe in case I make any more videos. Bye. Thank you.